Hi, welcome to the Ollie and Phil podcast. I'm Ollie, and Phil is.
I'm Phil. Hello.
Hi, Phil. Welcome back to podcast number 4. And we have with us this week a very special guest, an old friend of mine and Philip's. His name is Mr. Richard Dalton. Rick, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, yeah, Richard here. Good friends with Ollie and Phil since we were kind of 11, I think. Happy to be here. I think I actually starred in their previous podcast quite a few years ago when we were at college together. But
that wasn't the podcast.
Glad to see it's the local Falmouth podcast. It was Source FM or whatever, wasn't it?
Was that? I think that was that pre-podcast though.
No, it definitely wasn't pre-podcast because we discussed releasing it at the time, and we had.
So sorry, it was a live radio show, but
yeah, it was live.
Podcast. But yeah. I know I wanted to listen back to it because it was hilarious.
I mean, this shambles I can edit, but the live Source FM show, that all went out. Like we couldn't do anything about that when it went tits up.
Pure gold dust. Pure gold dust. I mean, we had at least 5 listeners, and they were both your parents and my mum.
Yeah. Well, I think my parents counted as one listener because I think they'd often listen from the same device.
Yeah. Hey, well, then make that 3 then.
I don't think we've really got ratings, right? Like we never had any reports on how many people were listening.
We weren't allowed to see it.
Oh, really? Yeah. I think that's probably just for morale purposes, sure.
I mean,
absolutely.
I think we did have to text friends to say, please call in.
Yeah, but I mean, most of the time, Phil and I wrote our own correspondence, which inevitably we will do for this podcast as well.
Yeah.
We should give out an email.
Funny.
Yeah, that's what we should do. We should give out an email just because I was thinking this during this week. I was thinking we should have some sort of a correspondence email.
All right.
And then as long as we give that out, then we can make up whatever we want because there's like... Otherwise, if we didn't give out an email and said... Angela Jones has emailed in this week from Cardiff, Wales, with a lovely story about her pet rabbit. People would be like, how?
It's like the Harry and Paul radio show.
It's like Logan.
But you can officially get fan mail then. Officially get fan mail. That'd be great.
Well, what do you think we're going to get? Like, what demographic?
Inundated. There'll be a truck backing up to my drive. Fan mail. Just cut the works. Wouldn't be able to get out the back. Yeah, when we get to the back, I wouldn't be able to get out of the door. There'd be letters everywhere, just opening like Father Christmas.
Really?
Do you have a drive?
No, I have
You live in London.
I have a entrance to my flat, of which there are 6 others in the building. But yes.
I like the idea that Phil and I are sort of dry and barren of fan mail on our particular drives, but Richard has lorry loads of letters and wet panties and all the sort of things you usually get.
Jesus.
Wet.
Yeah, still fresh.
Oh my word, Oliver. That's very crude. Very crude indeed.
How rude.
Sorry, does that hit the list of things that we weren't supposed to say?
No, I think as
we talked about this.
We've talked about this, Ollie. You can talk about male genitals and pants, but when it comes to the female variety, it's the spice of life. Anyway, yeah, so this is podcast number 4. The others have been a rousing success. Richard is our first guest. How do you feel about that, Richard?
No, I'm absolutely honoured. Thank you for having me.
Well, I believe hope so.
But am I the first guest you could think of, or have you? Is Doug? Is it Doug? Is he going to come back?
Yeah. Doug surely will come back.
It's funny you mentioned Doug because I did text Phil when we were talking about guests that Doug has to come back. I mean,
Obviously
this is pretty exclusive content. Doug is an enigmatic man from college that once appeared on our radio show, and he's very much like he's a good producer type character, right?
Well, he was one of my very good friends in college, and I had a lot of classes with him. And subsequently, I've completely lost contact. And it would actually be really interesting to find out how he's doing.
Definitely.
Because we always said that he should be a teacher because we call him the presentation king because he was amazing at presenting. And I think he has become a teacher. I think
he has. Very successful one.
So it'd be quite interesting to hear what he's up to.
Definitely, I'd love to catch up with him. And just to clarify for our listeners that it's Doug Lloyd, is it? Not FPS Doug for our pure ownage fans out there.
Again, a really niche reference.
I don't think we have to go for full names. Yeah.
People that watched like
early
internet
2000s
videos
web
in
series.
2002.
Yeah, but that's the point. We need to have these niche references, so that, the true super fans out there. Just like I really appreciated that.
What's something for them?
There will be someone.
Yeah.
I bet there will be someone listening to this who has heard or watched that web series.
Yeah, probably Ollie when he's editing it.
Yeah,
I'm the only one that listens to it. Although I will say, guys, we have got quite a lot of views compared to what I thought we'd have. I think it's like 30 a video, which I can't really account for, or 24.
That's interesting. I wonder if that's more or less than the Source FM show, because I would occasionally listen to Source FM in my car while I was driving around, and just to hear what was going on. And I think maybe some other people also did that, but I think that was about our listenership minus our friends and family.
Yeah.
But for the YouTube, I guess because you have that direct counter, it's quite interesting. Do you reckon we need to try and go viral? Like,
well, this is the thing, Phil. I sent you a request. I put it on Instagram, a little picture of us, and I edited it so it said Phil and Ollie podcast in really cool letters, and I put a link, and then I sent it to you and said, "Do you mind if I share this on social media?" Because I'm a considerate man, and I know that now you work in a certain professional field that we're not allowed to mention. That you may or may not get a tarnished reputation.
You can name the field.
I'll just say it involves a certain.
Don't say that. It's so easy to point directly at what.
So mysterious.
He's such an ass.
I'm just trying to hold myself back. Anyway, I mean, I can't remember what I was talking about because I'm embarrassed about the almost giving away. Well, yeah. Anyway, I asked Richard what he thinks our demographic is for this podcast, and all you've revealed that you think it might be is people that watched a very niche and ancient web series show.
Well, no, I don't think that's the pure demographic, but I just was hoping that perhaps someone listening may get that reference and appreciate it. But I don't think that's the only demographic we're kind of catering to here, or perhaps even our main demographic.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I don't really know what our demographic will be, but they're all legends, a lot of them.
What about mums and kids? Do you reckon we're appealing to mums and kids?
What, the kind of Haribo demographic?
I don't know, kids and grown-ups.
Yeah.
It's just everyone.
I suppose that is it. Well, not old-age pensioners.
I think you'd have to say they're grown-ups, surely. You don't ever stop being a grown-up.
Well, you never stop really being a kid.
Could get my grandma to tune in.
Well, again, Richard, you're misunderstanding the difference between live and podcast. You can't tune in. She can listen to the recording.
All right, listen back, whatever. You know what I mean.
I mean, he claims to be a doctor, but I don't know.
Listen on demand. She's got YouTube. I'll send her the link. She's got email and everything. She sends me emails all the time. She's got an iPad.
My grandma's got an iPad as well.
Well, it's because of the big letters, isn't it?
Yeah, and also it's good because she's got, if you've got bad fingers, like using a keyboard is quite uncomfortable, but using a trackpad on the iPad's pretty good. So you'll need to know that when you're a carer.
If I was a carer, which I'm not, or maybe I am. Don't fire me! I need this job! Anyway.
We've established you're going to become a truck driver.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I think we might have talked about this last week, but I'm doing an LGV driving course at the moment, which will mean I can drive a large vehicle from between the weight range of 2.5 tons, I believe, metric, to 7.5 tons, which will mean that I can do whatever I want. Although having said that, it took me 5 times to pass my driving test, and if you fail this once, you've got to pay 500 quid to do it again. So, on a carer's fee, I mean, on
500 quid, really?
Yeah, 500 quid.
Wow.
Yes. Well, the original course cost me over £1,000.
God, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
Hence my anger when things don't work out. DVLA pissing about with my license for 6 weeks. Admittedly, there was a strike.
Is it like kind of teaching you to drive at speed, or?
No, stationary, Richard.
No. But do you know what I mean? Like literally, like breaking the speed limit fast, kind of thing. and how you keep it on the road.
Oh, you mean? Oh, no, this isn't even specifically with an ambulance.
Okay.
This is just the weight class.
Yeah. Oh, I see. It's kind of minibus size, perhaps, or a bit bigger.
Yeah, I think more like ambulance is sort of the upper limits of it, isn't it? I mean, like I think it probably is the upper limit. It's probably 5 or 6 tons. That's why ambulances can't carry really obese people, because the drivers aren't insured to drive that category.
Is that true?
Of course not.
I mean, that could be true. That's like that sounded very plausible.
It's because you can't fit them in the back.
Well, I wanted to make it a joke about obese people when you were talking about 2 to 7 tons and like say, oh, you know, you'll finally be able to drive your mum around. But that's so unfair because your mum's, you know, not obese and not. And I like your mum.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, look. I think maybe we should avoid insulting the obese, because we, as we discussed, we get to realize our demographic, and who knows, it might be just exclusively obese people. So, you know.
Yeah. Could be. It would be quite a coincidence, but it could be 30 obese people, and if it is, then we're happy to have them.
40, wasn't it? Oh, I can't remember.
40.
We shouldn't dwell on our success. 41. Why have you just clicked on it?
I just refreshed it.
Yeah, Rick, if you could just keep doing that for a couple of hours, that'd be great. If you could maybe set up some sort of HTML script where it just like keeps refreshing. I think you had to watch the first 10% of the video. Just keep doing that. Yeah. Just keep doing that.
Is that how you actually get the view? Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
I was about to tell people to go and check out my YouTube channel, but presumably if they're listening to this, they're already on it. So check out my other videos. I've got some really long and intense video game playthroughs. There you go.
They are pretty intense. I think I enjoyed the Dark Souls 3 one, Dark Souls 2 one. I can't remember which game it is.
Oh, all the Dark Souls. I watched
one of them almost the entire way through.
Good.
So, you know, it's how good a friend I am. Also, I found it quite entertaining. So
yeah, okay, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's very enjoyable to do. Anyway, so like we are going on to move on to different subjects. Coming back to Richard's, who is let's pick apart, let's dissect, you know, Richard and his mind and his interesting mind. You know, let's pick apart his what do you call it? Soul, I suppose.
Okay, yeah. My dark soul.
The one thing that's always impressed me most about Richard is that of all our friends, he was always the one that came up with all the stupid little things which we would then say forever and ever thereafter. Like if we came up with some sort of stupid thing and we would just say it to each other, it was always inevitably Ricky that had come up with it.
Yeah, like repetitive in-jokes, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the in-jokes.
He's Jay from In Between Us.
Wow. Okay.
That's really
I haven't taken a pedalo to Africa, you know. But you know, I think it's just my humour is fairly one-dimensional, and just continuing to repeat the same thing over and over, it eventually became funny.
Has anything changed?
No, nothing at all.
Nothing at all, apart from you've got a PhD.
I don't actually. That's Philip.
I'm the one with a PhD.
Oh, I see. I thought you got a medical PhD or a doctorate. No,
it's actually an undergraduate. It's an undergraduate degree, actually. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So Phil is the real doctor.
Yes.
Well,
exactly. Why have qualification?
There's only room for one PhD. No, so there's only room for one doctor per podcast. So you guys have to decide by the end of the podcast which one of you is sort of taking that title, and the other one can be lowly scrub with me. Come over here to the lowly scrub corner. I've cleaned little feces.
Lowly scrub.
Who was that supposed to be? Cool. Who are you in? Did you just come up with a character there, or was that?
Yes, Richard. Look, I want to be a voice actor, and I'm hoping a lot of casting agents will listen to this.
Oh, come over here. I also wish to be a casting agent.
Old-timey gold prospector. Hi there. I'm not crazy. Yeah, see?
Call me Buster. Buster Scruggs.
Life is like a box of chocolates. Yeah, see, I'm still working on that one. Jenny, I love you, Jenny.
Is there a big demand for literally Forrest Gump voices?
I mean, it leads on to other things.
Right,
you know?
Phil always did a good Boston accent. Come on, let's hear it.
Did you?
No, that's the New Yorker. Hey, why is this? I'm walking here.
Yeah.
I did when I went to New York. I went to New York as on a work trip, and I was walking around town, and I said to my friend, at some point a car's gonna get too close to me, and I am gonna say I'm walking here at the car. And I did do it, but I also was very scared because I was like, please don't hear me.
Yeah, New York's a scary place, isn't it? People are very confrontational.
Yeah, I guess, but also people are busy. They don't really have time to stop and beat you up, I hoped.
It's kind of like all big cities, isn't it? It's London's quite similar, I'd say. Just very busy and lots of people and bad drivers.
Yeah, so you live there at the moment, do you?
Yeah, I am. I actually went on a nice cycle today, just around London, like Battersea Park, Hyde Park, Regent's Park. It was really nice.
Okay.
Yeah, but
lots of grounds.
Do you like living there?
I do. It's obviously, I think compared to Cornwall, I think a lot of people could appreciate it's extremely different and extremely loud and but there's always stuff going on and stuff. It's got its positives and negatives, I would say. But,
not quite as much as this going on, is there? Right there.
Was all milk cock?
Definitely not. And obviously, that's the Bristolian accent as well, where I lived after Cornwall for a bit. So, where you live, isn't it, Oliver?
It is. Right there. Well, Bristol. Would you like to come to my pie shop? I don't know. It's more the northern, actually.
Pieminster.
What pie shops?
Pieminster.
We've got Pieminster down in, what was it, Brislington?
Come over to Piefield. Old Pie-ole.
Piefield.
Yes, Piefield, Richard. If you could do Piesington or whatever you said, then I could do Pifield. All right.
Have you tried Pieminster? I never actually had it.
Is it a real thing?
Yeah, there's a shop in Bristol called Pieminster. It's quite well known.
Do you remember when you and I went to get brunch and I got that delicious huevos rancheros and it was I didn't actually like it. It wasn't delicious at all. I hated it.
Oh yeah, Baker's. Was it Baker's and Co? Yeah,
Baker's and Co. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to try something new. I fancy a bit of huevos rancheros, and I really didn't like it. Yeah, it was very, very tomatoey, very salsa-y. I don't want salsa for breakfast. I want something solid like a sausage or.
Did you feel you still got value just by being able to say huevos rancheros?
Yeah, before I went there, I don't think I ever had said huevos rancheros before, but now I've been. I mean, I paid for the entertainment, which was talking with. It paid for itself, really, didn't it, Richard?
And I got to say huevos rancheros, so I regret nothing.
Yeah, I don't think you're quite getting the pronunciation, the accent right there.
Richard. Oh, whatever, you know.
It's huevos rancheros.
I'm not a professional voice actor, right?
I never said I was professional. I'm just a crazy gold miner. See, yeah. I mean, if that's not professional. Hey, who's this? 'Tis season 2. Okay, no, I can only do 3 seconds of that, or we'll get copyright struck.
I don't think we will.
Some of these impersonators on YouTube, though, are seriously impressive. Have you seen the Football Manager one?
No.
Well, there's this guy with black hair.
Good.
That's an important bit. Yeah.
I can't really describe. I don't really describe what he looks like, but basically he's like the main dude on there. I think he's an American guy, but he seriously impressive. Okay, he does a great Jose Mourinho and Jurgen Klopp. I've seen those.
Jurgen Klopp.
If you had to hang out with one of the Premier League managers, who would you pick? Because Jurgen Klopp. I think he seems like he'd be a really nice guy to hang out with. He might be a bit intense, a bit distracting.
He's great. We all speak a bit of German, so he's already up there because you could impress him a little bit. You'll win him a little bit of favour immediately. Jose Mourinho would, he wouldn't give you time of day. It'd be like bleeding a stone.
I think it might be all right, but yeah, okay. I'm just thinking who I would pick, but yeah.
Is it bleeding? Is the saying bleeding a stone?
Getting blood from a stone. It's like getting blood from a stone.
Pushing out a stone.
No.
No. It's
similar. I think that means you're constipated, mate.
Well, or you've got kidney stones.
Yeah, I think it means really painful. It means it's impossible, basically.
Well, I mean, pushing a kidney stone out is hard. I've led to believe.
Have you attempted this?
Well, no, I've not ever had them my own. I've thought once or twice about just popping a pebble in there and giving it a go. But
Oliver.
Oh,
what? What? We think? You think my mum's going to be disappointed when she hears that? She's not. She's gonna freak out. She's gonna love it. And now she's got a mention. So
2 mentions.
2 mentions.
Your mum's cashing in.
She's becoming a main feature event of this.
Do you reckon we'll get your mum as a guest? Second guest, maybe?
I'm going to cut this out. Cut that question out because I think the honest answer will upset her.
Does she tune in to the latest incarnation?
I reckon she's probably the most likely to listen, or the word will get back to her, right?
Actually, I played last time I was at home. We were driving back from my older brother's house in Foy, and it's like a 45-minute drive. And I put it on. In the car with my mum and dad, and we just listened to it for about half an hour. It was the foreskin episode. It was the episode where we would not stop talking about foreskins.
Well, isn't that every episode?
Yeah,
I'm waiting for the foreskins. I'm waiting for the foreskin segment.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, maybe it should become a regular feature. Or maybe, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well. I mean, we'll think about that because we had to come up with some features. All right, like something that is a sort of continuity. Because, like, as much as I love just coming on and chatting to you and like anyone else that's here, Richard in this case, and Richard, I will say right now, it is a privilege and an honor, sir.
Thank you very much.
But as much as I love that, yeah, we should get some regular features going. Like today, an hour ago, I sort of looked up some like funny headlines and weird news stories that are going on. Yeah, and I thought, like we could talk about those. In fact, I could tell you one of them right now. Yeah, how about this one from the Telegraph? German zoo turns poo. You can see where it caught my attention.
Yeah.
German zoo turns poo into profit during lockdown. Yeah.
Did you read any further? Like, how are they doing that?
I wanted to read further, but the Telegraph has a subscription to read their stories.
It was all blurred out.
Absolute cheapskate.
I don't want to pay it. Yeah. How about this one, right? Liam Gallagher, also from the Telegraph, clearly like a good
you also didn't read the article then.
What, the poo one?
Well, either of them, because they're both in the Telegraph.
Yeah, no,
But we're not. Yeah, exactly. We're not going to hear the full story.
I think that's okay. That's okay.
Oh no, this one's also subscription only. So this is it's just kind of sort of just turning into sort of a headline feature exclusively. But Liam Gallagher rants at music festival after smelly fish is thrown on stage.
Smelly fish? Is that a Reading or Leeds? I know he's playing that festival. It must be one of those.
I'd love to tell you, Richard, if you could just send me £6 or £7 to subscribe to the Telegraph online, then no, I actually do know. It was in Benicassim,
yes,
in Spain.
Never heard of it.
I would just like to know if Smelly Fish is like the name of another singer, or whether it's just a particular.
I think it's physically a smelly fish. Like, so someone has brought a, let's face it, probably gone off fish to the festival in order to throw it at Liam Gallagher.
I mean, there are like, not that I have anything personal against Liam Gallagher, but there are like much better. No, there's not many worse people to throw. Do you know what I mean? Liam Gallagher.
You'd think it's okay to throw a smelly fish at Liam Gallagher over most other artists because he's a bit of an arsehole.
I'd like to say right now that I don't think it's okay to throw a smelly fish at any artist, any person who's putting themselves out there, on the line with their creative output, looking for validation and attention. I think it's rude. I think it's disrespectful. I think it's blasphemous, personally. After Jesus, all the things he went through with the loaves and the fishes, right? To throw a smelly fish at a singer, you're going. There's a ticket to hell, isn't it?
It's a lust to lie.
It's pretty bad. But I want to know. I mean, that headline in my head conjures up. I just want to know how smelly the fish is. Do you know what I mean? Was it worth throwing? When we were at Reading, all three of us were at Reading together, and people would like in the crowd, like they'd piss in a bottle and then they'd chuck it, right?
Yeah, or a cup. I mean, just don't get on someone's shoulders after a certain period when people's bladders are full. Like that's you're asking for a.
Yeah, but some of that wee must go on the thrower.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But I think they're just so like kind of intoxicated by that point that they just take it.
What do you mean, Richard? They're trashed up. You mean they're wazzed out?
Well, like if you're producing pints and pints of wee, like that's probably because you've drunk pints and pints of beer, so you just don't
Producing it?
care.
Well, like some sort of wee factory.
I mean, you basically are a wee factory, Ollie. I hate to break it to you, mate, but you're a wee and poo factory, and there's nothing you can do about
That's like Marxism talk.
it. Control the means of production.
The question is, what fish was thrown at this man? Was it a cod? Was it a red snapper?
Can you not?
I don't know why that's the second fish I thought of, but
couldn't think of another fish, and red snapper was the first thing that came up.
Well, I was in the market the other day and saw a red snapper, so that was in the back of my mind. Just
right, Rick.
Fish.
I'm gonna give
tuna.
you a.
There's another fish.
Well done, well done. You really earned that. You really earned that undergrad. You know.
Oh, thank you.
You were floundering a bit there, mate.
Oh my god.
Right. We don't need to go through all of the fish and chip shop fish puns.
I want to do some instant answers from Richard, if that's all right. Rick, I'm going to give you a group or a word, and I want you to give me the first thing that comes to your head. So if I said fish, you would say red snapper, obviously, shortly after cod. Sorry.
Oh,
so if I was,
I'd like to say had it now. That's the first
You're changing your answer.
It needs to be your first response.
Yeah.
I just say the haddock fish cake.
It's got. Did you?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us? Do you want to tell us what else is in your belly? Huh?
Oh, I had some.
Have some cheddars?
No. Right. What's this game called?
Come on then. All right then. Okay. So I want an instant response. Right. Less than a second to answer. Okay. Otherwise, Phil's going to go. And then we're going to buy a red snapper and make it smell and then throw it at you at the most public moment.
Exactly.
You wouldn't dare.
I would dare. I'll come into that hospital or wherever it is you work that isn't a hospital.
Wherever it is you work.
Here's the game, all right? And they're not the rules. That sounds like I'm presenting the rules. I'm actually just going to start it. Okay, Rick, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you focused?
I'm very focused.
Are you prepared to? You don't sound it, Richard. You sound like you don't care, and that's to me.
I'm ready.
Not okay.
You've been faffing about with this game. I've been ready since the start. I am
since I mentioned it 3 minutes ago.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Fine. Okay. Are you ready? I'm going to say a word.
I was born ready.
I know. Okay. All right. You're interrupting me. You don't sound ready. You sound like you're trying to go off on a sort of tangent.
Well, that's a bit presumptuous.
Well, maybe. All right. Can we have Philip's endorsement?
No.
Okay. Here we go. All right.
No.
So I'm going to give you words. All right, and then you've got to come up with your first answer. Okay.
Go.
Dog.
Cat.
No.
You said the first word.
I'm sorry. You're right. Okay. I didn't. I know.
That was also my answer.
Rick, it's my fault. Okay, I didn't explain the rules properly.
How do I play?
No, okay, you played very well. You did excellently. You did everything that you understood to happen. What I mean is, like, if I say dog to you, I want you to tell me the first type of dog that you think of. I should have explained that.
Sorry.
No, that's my fault.
Genre.
That's absolutely my fault. It's like letting a child go like attack a buffet table without telling them to leave the sweets till last. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise they're just going to go for the sweets. They don't understand
they get head first in the hot chocolate fountain and chocolate.
Hot chocolate fountain.
Well, chocolate fountain, yeah, just swimming around.
It has to be hot. You can't. Chocolate is not liquid usually at room temperature, Oliver.
There's the chemist.
There's
the chemist coming out. Wow, we are all learning new things today. That's right. Or not. He might not. Okay. Anyway. All right. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Dog.
Right.
Too long.
Labrador.
You had a golden retriever. Like, how did that not immediately jump to your mind?
It's taking too long. Okay. You ready?
Yes.
Color.
Blue.
Okay, that's better. That's a bit better, yeah? What do the judges think?
Well, that was it was predictable, but it was speedy. So
okay, good. I'm coming in with another one.
Honest.
Vegetable.
Courgette.
Fruit.
Orange.
Country.
England.
Car.
Objection.
What, saying England?
England, come on. I mean,
Yeah.
what is the definition of a country? Should have gone for something that is at least, I don't know. I mean, is England a country? I guess it is. I withdraw my objection.
I don't mind the technicality. I just object to the fact they went for England. What, are you some sort of nationalistic scum?
Well, that's where we are right now.
Well, I mean, come on. Be a little bit diverse. Give Andorra a shout out.
Andorra?
Screw those guys.
That's been out there.
Don't start on the Andorrans. They have it hard enough as it is.
No, they don't. They live in a bloody mountainous paradise in the Pyrenees. They go.
Hey, it's hard to be an Andorran. All right, all that
great geography,
sitting around and whatever they do in Andorra.
Ski, I think it's a good place to go skiing. I think.
Okay, all right.
They don't want to get beaten quite heavily by us in the Euro qualifiers. That's all I remember.
Yeah. They have a football team.
Yeah, well, we always roll out 11 millionaire superstars against Andorra, who have
it's understandable, but it's normally like San Marino and Andorra. We normally have quite an easy qualifying and
just absolutely donk them. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. I want to give you a few more, if that's all right.
Go on then.
Okay. Do you feel like this is really getting to the nitty gritty of Richard?
Well. Maybe after a couple more.
What, you think we might really get to the heart of it? I think I'm asking.
What do you mean the nitty gritty? I mean, it's quite vague.
What, nitty gritty?
You're trying to kind of get inside and really understand what I'm about.
I've never used a more specific phrase in my life. Car.
Ford.
Okay. All right. Film.
Saving Private Ryan.
Okay, interesting. Why?
Well, that's famously the film that I showed at my 15th birthday, and I fell asleep within about 10 minutes.
That is actually getting to the nitty gritty of who Richard is.
Yeah, see,
someone who falls asleep.
Hosts a sleepover for his buddies, and at the first opportunity, falls asleep.
Yeah.
There was a great occasion when Rick was on some medication that meant he couldn't drink alcohol, take alcohol, getting my drugs mixed up. And then me and Phil were waiting at a bus stop to go to a party. And me and Phil were getting that. Do you remember that was when Muscle Gym
Body World?
Yeah. That was when Body World was born, where we used to just lift each other up from the legs and pretend to do chin-ups and get really excited about being...
Funny.
That was funny, yeah.
Do you want to describe it to the listeners so they understand?
I think that's basically the description they need.
So Phil was doing you were doing the pull-ups. Pull-ups on the bus stop. And Phil was helping you, and we were trying to hide this, but obviously you could see Phil's head popping up every
Yeah, I didn't do a very good job.
It wasn't you, Phil. The performance was fine. It was absolutely the cinematography.
Yeah, the framing of the shot wasn't great.
Yeah, and who was filming?
Yeah, well, that's just kind of the Cornish life of a teenager is to have to get long buses and wait at bus stops for hours and hours. So many of those times we were on a bus on the way back, and then you're just absolutely hanging because you've been drinking, and then you have to wait for 45 minutes to make your connection in Praise and Bible or something, and it's a nightmare.
It created some resilience, though, to long travel. I think it taught us some level of patience, right?
Now, if you had your phone with you, just imagine how much better that would be. Back in the day when you were on your Nokia or whatever, your brick, just sort of reading all the advertisings on the buses over and over and over again because there's literally nothing else to see.
I don't know, Phil. That's why we did Body World. We created our own fun. I really think that people would be doing that stuff more. More Body World things would be
Isn't that basically what TikTok is?
Yeah.
We're massively ahead of our time, but without all the Chinese state-sponsored spying.
We could be millionaires by now.
Well, do you remember, Phil, when you and I did that Upside Down News film? No, we had a little handheld video recorder,
Oh
and
my god!
one of us leant over one side of a big circular trampoline and filmed the other one on the other side. And it was like we were sitting at a news desk, but obviously we were upside down. But from the perspective of the camera, it looked like we were right way up. And they'd be like, "Hello, welcome to the 6 o'clock news," but obviously in a sort of silly, prepubescent voice.
Yeah.
And then you'd like straighten some papers and let them lay them down on the desk, and they just fall upwards. And then we had like a gardening segment where someone had put like a full watering can on top of the trampoline, and one of us like went to be like, "This summer, be prepared to water your plants," and then like pull out the watering can, it all spilling everywhere. It's all the way around. Yeah,
I think the segments were largely based on what would be amusing to see fall upwards.
that was exclusively what they were based on. Yeah, that was the whole premise. But I tell you what, Phil and Richard, although I have a feeling Richard already knows, the best comedy hinges on its simplicity. You know,
right? Mm.
I mean, you already know that as well. The reason I believe Richard already knows it is because, as he was saying, his style of comedy at school was just saying the same thing, little catchphrase, over and over. Not only that wasn't the only thing he did that was funny, but
it was the main thing.
It was the main thing.
It was very funny.
In fact, it came up the other day. I was I went to go and swim in the sea with a friend. I can't remember where it was. Maidenhead, that's right, near Weston-super-Mare, and we had just walked up a headland, a big cliff face, and as we were walking onto the beach at the bottom of it, there was a big pile of scree, right? And that's one of the things that Richard used to say after a particular geography lesson. Scree being a big pile of rocks and stone that has chipped away through erosion off a mountainside. And I said to Polly, my friend, I said, "Look at that. That's a pile of scree." So not only was Richard entertaining, he was also educational.
Well, you're not really doing it justice because you had to say it in an incredibly thick Scottish accent. I don't know why it was Scottish, but it was more like scree, like that, like just way very loud, thick Scottish accent with no context at all, and basically say it in the middle of the class, and the teacher had to work out who it was. And then everybody went silent.
I never really associated it with Scotland.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where that really came from. I can't explain why it was Scottish. But
like, I mean, I think it almost definitely came from one of those school educational videos.
Oh yes, exactly. The non-verbal reasoning, riveting
with a random Scottish man in it.
Yes, exactly.
Had to mute myself at like the last minute.
Like limestone. This quarry we used for limestone.
Limestone paving. That's limestone pavement, that.
You sound like Liam Gallagher.
Maybe you should be a talented voice actor, Richard,
Hey!
Limestone, that's up Yorkshire, that's limestone pavement.
That's no. Well, hopefully the casting directors would have already tuned out.
These hills are made of limestone.
Limestone. Go down to limestone. You got limestone pavement.
Going down pub, get limestone. Come back with sodium carbonate.
Calcium, actually. Yeah, I do love just doing stupid voices. That was definitely a major part of our comedy as younger men, but it still persists.
If you could be born in another part of the UK, which part would you be born in?
Just for the accent?
That's an interesting one. Interesting question.
Or
no, not just for the accent, for everything.
Oh, that's tricky. But
But don't you wouldn't be judging it through a Cornish lens.
I reckon I quite like to have a Scottish accent.
You do an excellent Scottish accent.
I do.
You do a Scottish accent. You won the Pulitzer Prize. It hasn't even been published yet.
But the one that I can't do that I'd really like to be able to do is like a proper like Geordie, because I can only do the fucking mould, mate. Like I can't. That's awful. It's so bad. It's by far my worst regional accent. I would say least confident.
What sort of words? What sort of words do they say a lot?
They're like, "Why aye, man?"
Yeah, why aye, man?
Why aye, man? I just always think of that guy from Alan Partridge.
That was passable, I would say. Much better than mine.
It's passable, but it's not quite there yet.
Yeah, it sounds a bit like Harry Bikers.
Well, that's good because they are from they're from Tyne and Wear, aren't they? Yeah.
Just going along on me bike.
That was good. Bike I Grove. There we go. We're getting into it. Maybe bike is the word to get us into it.
Bike. Yeah. Everything. Yeah. Okay. And the fucking mortal thing is I always found that funny. That it's as if when you're sober you're immortal, and then when you drink you become mortal, become susceptible to the ravishes of human life.
That's what got Achilles at the end. It wasn't the heel. He was just binned.
It was a nice gin and tonic.
Let's see. Nice bottle of Chianti.
I think Achilles heel. No, forget it. I was going to say it'd be a good name for a spirit, but it's not really, is it?
Mm.
Famous Grouse. Perfect name for a whiskey, you know? You know what I mean?
Is a grouse like a
pheasant?
It's a game bird.
Yeah.
But I mean, you just can't. He's like, what's the really posh vodka?
Grey Goose.
Mm. Oh, I'm starting to realise how I judge alcohol names. It's got to be an adjective and then a bird.
Stinky fish. Do you reckon that would be a good?
Stinky fish. Well, a fish isn't a bird.
No, but it's just an animal. I was extending to the entire animal kingdom.
To be fair, what you were saying about that, I think a lot of spirits are all marketing, and especially with gin, there's lots of like average tasting gins that are extremely expensive, but they have like fancy packaging and a quirky name.
90% of the war.
You could probably come up with a fancy like gin name based on your rule with an adjective and a bird, and you'd be very rich. You'd be a very rich man.
Come on, let's do it now. Let's do it live. Everyone has, maybe we can cut a small part of the podcast out where we all think of. We have like 2 minutes to think of
precious tit.
Precious tit.
I don't need to cut anything out. I'm on it.
Tit is it's a strong bird to go with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you want to go for like alliteration? Maybe I don't know.
A flogging swan.
Flogging.
Yeah, I don't know. The first thing's coming.
Sounds more like a kind of pub name, I would say.
Yeah, I think it sounds more like a sex position.
Oh god.
You're not wrong. Yeah.
Seems to know a lot about this, Oliver.
Yeah, it's in the Kama Sutra. The Ollie expansion pack.
Oh dear.
Oh dear indeed, Richard. Because I'm testing them all out on you, my boy.
The Ollie expansion pack.
Yeah, that's right. $10.99.
Is this your like lockdown project?
Oh, I wish I'd done that. That would have been fun. No, I didn't really do anything over lockdown other than, well, I don't know. I don't remember what I did.
We played tennis, did we?
We did play tennis, Richard. Oh, I was so awful at that. And do you know what? I play football every Tuesday night, although I haven't for a couple of weeks now because I've been busy. And I am really bad, like really bad at football now.
You used to be great.
I thought I used to be good. Maybe it was just by
comparison, yeah.
I think you were always good. It's probably just to do with fitness, wouldn't it? If you haven't been playing regularly.
Honestly, yeah, I think it is to do with that. And we were all. I don't think anyone there was particularly bad. I mean, you had like you had the Rick Poke finish. You had the Tris
miss.
The Tris miss. Oh my god, I forgot we used to say that. God, it's so mean.
Yeah, we were mean to him.
I love Tristan. I want to reconnect with him. Can I? Is there some way I can do that through this podcast?
He could be a guest.
He could be a guest.
Tris would be a good guest. He lives an interesting life. He's had a wild lifestyle.
Yeah, he has, and he lives.
He's lived in 3 countries.
And talking about his kind of game design background and stuff like that. That'll be quite interesting.
He's done. He's held a philosophy which I am now trying to apply to my life, which is just do it. And it's not. I haven't stolen it from Nike.
It's such a brutal advertising slogan because like it comes up all the bloody time. Like, and you wouldn't have said before Nike, just do it. Like you might have, but like now every time I say it, I feel like sick inside.
I know, but it's a really good bit of advice.
Yes, it is.
For people that are a bit fearful of life, like myself.
That scene in Starsky and Hutch when he's like, do it.
Do it.
Do
Ben
it.
Stiller.
Bacardi and Cola. Do it.
Rick, you are studying this conversation with the sort of film and TV references that we love.
Starsky and Hutch. If you haven't seen it, watch it.
Get a life. Yeah? If you haven't seen Starsky and Hutch, might as well give up now.
Bit mean.
Yeah, a little bit mean. I'm only kidding, Phil.
Sorry, Karen.
Carry on with what?
Well, you said I was starting a conversation. Well, what have you got to say? Let's hear it. Come on, spit it out.
Social challenge. What, you expected me to come up with something on the spot? All right, okay. Singing duck. All right, for a rum liqueur.
Rum liqueur.
Yeah. All right. You happy?
No.
I came up with something. I contributed. That's my job. Well, it's not my job, but it's what I would like my job to be, which is doing this podcast.
Oh,
Yeah.
that could be your job.
Could it be my job?
No. Probably no one's going to pay you to do it, unfortunately. But there's a chance.
I went to an audition. It turned out to be. I thought it was an interview. It turned out to be an audition for BBC Bristol Radio. And it was turned out to be so I turned up at they said come between 9 and 4 and we'll try and see everyone. I turned up at 9:15 and there was 150, 200 people queue, and I waited until 3:30 to be seen. And I went in and it turned out to be this horrible X Factor style 3-panel judge. You stood on a thing in this big room in front of them, and you had to have prepared a story that you told in a minute. And I actually, Phil, told that story about when you lost your passport in Zurich. I hope you don't mind.
No, fine. There you go.
And I finished, and it was like a 3 yeses type deal, and they all said you're completely uninteresting. I didn't go with you at all. I thought it was. I didn't think you said it with much character. I don't personally believe that it was brilliant, but I was just as someone who has a fear of rejection of failure, I was just like, oh my god, I don't that as a chance to prove yourself is so reductive, isn't it?
It's an interesting kind of thing they asked you to do, tell a story rather than, do you know what I mean? Tell us a story with passion, and that can show us your kind of acting kind of skills, rather than just, I don't know, just act out something or just do a little skit, or will they give you a scenario?
It was for being a radio contributor. It wasn't for acting. It was for a presenter internship or something like that. So I get what you mean. If it was an actual audition, I see where you've gone. If it was an actual acting audition, then yes, it would be weird. But I think it was a reasonable way of doing it. But I just didn't have any confidence, going in and speaking for a minute in front of a panel of people I didn't know. So,
or just giving you some lines to present rather than because I feel like that's kind of reliant on your story being very entertaining or whatever. And if they didn't kind of warm to that, perhaps that might have affected.
Did you have a lot of notice about what you were going to have to do? Because if it was said ahead of time, you have to do a story for a minute. I guess they know that they're going to get massively oversubscribed. They can basically be dicks and still recruit whoever they want.
I don't think I did the best job I could have done, and I think it was end of the day as well, which is every actor's worst nightmare.
What's the audition?
Yeah, exactly. The chances of you getting hired on an audition that is towards the end of the day is basically none, because people are tired and they're grumpy and they want to go home.
I guess you just have to put it down to a kind of a learning experience. I really think I mean interviews are awful. I hate interviews. I mean it's just so draining, and but being put on the spot in that specific way, I mean it's just utterly brutal. But
that's the thing. I can once I get going, I get going. It's just it's like that whole driving test thing. I could drive the first time I tried to pass my driving test. I that type of pressure that gets to me. I don't know what it is. I don't know how you improve at that. I guess just keep living life and trying loads of different things until you realize that. I just think it's a philosophy thing. I've just got to take life and myself a little bit less seriously.
I think it's hard to do unless you put yourself in pressure situations frequently, which isn't very comfortable. But I always try to mitigate pressure for myself by preparing as well as I can, and then once I've done that, or I try not to go into those situations unprepared. And if I've done my preparation, then when I'm walking into the interview or lining up to do whatever I'm supposed to do, I know that the sort of decision or the outcome is basically already it's already been decided based on what I've done. So for, like all the work I've done, like for exams or whatever. And so you just have to sit down and deliver the skill. And then it's like, if you're going into an audition like that, you feel like you're truly prepared and you've got what you want.
Yeah, but I think a big part of that is putting yourself under the pressure, like owning it. Like when you guys, it's a small example, but when you guys resat exams after the IB,
Yeah.
you had made that decision yourself. You were like owning that decision, and so you like had to step up to it or step down, you know, that kind of thing. Whereas, like, I think I've been in a lot of pressured situations, but I've either felt like I should be there or someone else has put me there. Do you know what I mean? And that means that you don't take away the like as much of a valuable lesson as you otherwise would. Interesting way of looking at it. I'm not sure how much truth there is to that. I do talk a lot of philosophical babble. That's the thing. I'm good at filibustering. I'd make a good
American politician.
Tory MP. Oh, well, okay, all right.
Both.
I agree with Phil then on that point. I think, you know, like just massively over preparing for something like that. So you just instilling confidence in yourself because you know you've prepared as best you can, and then that kind of can mitigate some of the anxiety and nerves you have. And I think also in exams and stuff like that, you always have a bit of, or like in roles, you always have a bit of kind of imposter syndrome creeping in and stuff like that. But I think it's just all kind of, it's just purely confidence. And if you can kind of work out a technique that works best for you, then that will kind of stand you in good stead going into those situations in future.
Yeah, I just want to be a more confident person, and maybe...
you don't strike me as someone who lacks confidence. But maybe you're kind of lacking confidence on the inside, but you don't give off that impression. If that's any,
I tell you what, Richard, I am a confident performer. And by that, I don't mean that I do myself a disservice by saying that I'm not a confident person, but like I think there's a lot of insecurity nibbling away. And like you say, like I know everyone experiences that imposter syndrome to some extent, but I feel like I really let myself get away with it. Do you know what I mean? Not get away with it, like I really get in my head about stuff. And I'm actually, believe it or not, starting therapy soon for like working on mindfulness and presentness, because I think that's part of my problem. So I worry too much I start imagining outcomes, and I've got a very vivid imagination. So I sort of hop down the ladder to the worst case scenario, and suddenly I think I'm going to, like, I don't know, cause World War III or something.
I think that's. I think the mindfulness thing is definitely something that can make a big difference. Definitely, I think. No, it's kind of true. I mean, I am really bad for this. Like I have these periods where I just kind of like,
You have periods,
but like periods where you kind of like just daydream and like kind of in your head and like kind of just thinking about stuff like overly in your head rather than being in the moment, kind of a thing. So that's definitely something I've tried to work on a bit. But,
exactly.
I completely see what you mean. And
I mean, it's like it permeates through your life. If that's the thing. So, like, for some reason, I've been conditioned in my life to put a lot of pressure on myself in terms of career and stuff. And obviously, I'm still working out what exactly that is I want to do. So that is a lot of pressure that I can't really do much about, like instantly, you know. Whereas it does permeate through your life. Like that sort of thing is really important for social stuff, like friendships and relationships and ting like that.
I think that's really important. Yeah, definitely. And I think, finding something that you find really fulfilling will be just good for your kind of mental well-being and just sort of general well-being. Like just finding something that you feel very rewarding and fulfilling. Like, for example, this kind of change of career possibly you're thinking about, I think is, that does sound something that would be very fulfilling.
Yeah, but I'm trying to appreciate the fact that it doesn't have to be career focused. That's the thing, because there are lots of people who never really discover what their most fulfilling job. But like obviously, every other part of an element of life is as important. You know?
Definitely. But and I'm not saying life is all about career, but if that's what you're doing, like 9 to 5, or like most of your kind of working life, you are at work doing that role. And so,
of course,
I'm not saying that that's purely to do with that, obviously, like family life and like your hobbies and all this other stuff. But equally, no, I do think that I mean, just for me, like when I was doing some parts of my course, I just didn't find particularly interesting. I just feel quite like, I don't know, just exasperated or almost depressed, just because I just didn't find it interesting at all. I didn't find that part of my course ever fulfilling. But then when I started really fulfilling, I was
Rick,
like,
can you lean into your mic a little bit more? You're really quiet.
Oh, sorry. Can you not hear me?
I mean, we can hear you, but you sound like you're wandering around your room. Like,
It sounds like you were
Well,
slowly
I was.
walking around.
I was walking around. I was deep in. I was deep in monologue, and
did you have your hand on your chin?
Yeah, so I was, you know.
It sounded like we were on a phone call with your parents or a brother or something, and like they're putting away clean laundry, and you're trying to have a conversation with them.
And I was looking out the window. I was going with it. I was going with the flow, or
I really didn't want to cut you off, but
well, you have done. You have done.
Listeners.
No, you were cutting yourself off, bro. I mean, that's the problem. But and what you were saying was all gold. It was all gold dust. It's actually very important.
But that is that's true.
We should. I'm sorry that I'm sorry that you went through those periods, but I'm also not, because that's. I mean, I really think some of my lowest points have been character building, although they fucking sucked. But like, yeah, I now know, like, I've had a range of experiences, especially as like if you want to go into acting, especially because you have to be able to portray those things. I mean, I'm still saying that I haven't, like, there's a lot of things I haven't experienced that I want to. Say, a nice glass of perishing eagle, delicious distilled whiskey. That's what we should do, right? We should have like 10 minutes at the end of like philosophy time.
Yeah, probably should. I mean, it's probably just good for all of us.
Yeah, get it out.
Well, I think what you said about being mindful is, I've never done any of like sort of training for that, but I do think often in pressure situations, like I was saying, if you're prepared enough, or even if you're not prepared enough, I often just try and take the attitude of like, time passes at exactly the same rate whatever I do, so all I need to do is just exist for the next hour and this will be over, and like during that time all I'm going to do is try my hardest, and that's it. And like, just try and take all the pressure off yourself and be like, well,
it doesn't. That's at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like that's the big one. I think it's been really, my last 2 interviews with these care companies. I've really like been proud of myself, because I've found it a breeze, and I like had a lot to talk about, and I just found it really easy. But it's also because I didn't put a lot of pressure on myself, because it's not something I want to be doing for very long. Do you know what I mean? It's not a dream job. In that situation, then I understand, like, I would be under a lot of pressure. So it just depends. I've just got to take that attitude to something that I really want to do. That's all.
Well, I'd say the only interview experience I've had, which was really awful, was for a role which I was just completely unsuitable. Like, it was basically for a research role in like a physics group, and I'm not a physicist. And I was in this interview, and I just got absolutely torched for like an hour, and it was awful. But every other interview,
an hour, wow,
it was a long interview. Like, yeah, it sucked. It really sucked. I sort of blocked it out of my mind. But like, other things.
You weren't there, man.
Yeah, basically. Nah, it wasn't that bad. I mean, to be honest,
PTSD.
To be honest, like, it's just you're not the right fit, and that's that.
Yeah,
but like,
something else always comes along.
But if you're the right person for a job, the interview shouldn't be like an abomination. Like if it's that bad, that's a huge red flag. And
yeah, I'd say so. Even if you are suited for the job, it's a red flag about the people that are employing you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think you getting into radio would be elite, and I think you'd be really good at it. But like, ultimately, if the selection process is basically run by a bunch of arseholes, you're going to have to eat shit for years, like rising through the ranks and like, getting people's coffees and maybe getting a couple of minutes of airtime here and there. I mean, I guess that is the deal. But
it's the industry. It's not.
It's
creative industry.
It's tricky. That's just how it goes. But like, that is kind of a red flag that was how they want to select.
It was basically just that thing. I mean, you can go through other channels, obviously. I mean, I should just go networking. Like, there are opportunities to doing that. I can do that. Anyway, guys, we've gone on for an hour, so I think we're going to have to come to an end here.
Oh, that's flown by.
Has it flown by, Richard? Did you say you had a lot of fun on the Phil and Ollie and Richard podcast? You see what I've done there? See, that's slid in your name at the end there.
I liked it. Yeah, no, it's good. I think, well, like you had on your previous radio shows, those little like skits you had and the little like games and stuff were quite good as well. So maybe that's something you could consider in future for
the features.
Yeah, because that's something I really enjoyed, like the tenuous, like a tenuous link thing, and like various, and then like, didn't you? You had like fishing quips, and then you had like some like
I pretend to leave, and then
Yeah, like the multiple personalities of Phil.
Stranger
and,
in the studio. That was cool.
Yeah, and you also
Fascist
had like
corner.
the most ridiculous story you could find from the
Fascist
local
corner.
newspaper, like the Farmers Gazette or whatever.
Yeah, that was Fish and Quips.
Oh, was
We've got
that?
to bring
Okay,
it
sorry.
back. We've got to bring it back.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
also, Phil, we also used to look over the the forecast for the docks by Jonathan Barnacote from the Falmouth Packet. Do you remember we did that?
Yeah.
Like, and there was nothing funny about it. We would just talk about what ships were coming in and which ones were leaving.
We just found it really funny.
It really stood out as a sort of 16-year-old comedy radio show. We'd suddenly start talking about the shipping forecast. Yeah, very strange.
Yeah, I need to come up with some good ideas. I think. Yeah.
I think it's forming. It's
We're finding our feet. Let's say that.
Yeah, basically. All right, then. So we'll all say goodbye. Thank you very much for coming on, Richard. I'm sure if you'd like to be on again, you're very welcome.
I'd like to, yeah, and I'll maybe I'll introduce a new game, perhaps. Who knows?
Yeah,
Yes.
maybe you could become a regular content contributor. We could have you kind of like. I mean, if you wanted to be more. The thing is, if you wanted to be more present than like a fully fledged like co-host, then that would be good. But you could also just come on whenever you want, and we could just refer to you if you wanted to.
Yeah, well, whatever works for you guys. I mean, it's good fun. I think it's good opportunity to catch up, but also just having a little chatter. And
well, that's why we started it.
No, I think it's a really good idea, especially to kind of get your kind of YouTube channel back in business. Raking in subscribers, mate. Raking them in.
Okay, guys, thanks very much for joining us. It's been great having you along, Richard. You said it all. You've done it all.
Been an absolute pleasure.
Ollie, I mean, you're the boy, you know.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
I was going to say something mean, but can't say anything mean.
Yeah, you can. You can always say something to me. I take it in good faith. Oh, Phil, look, we're all great. All right, let's all remember. If we take away anything from this,
the pleasure is all mine.
It just
Oh, sorry. Was I not? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was talking, Richard. I was speaking out of my mouth hole.
Yeah,
I know. I kind of did that on purpose just to ruin it again.
Yeah, of course you did. No, Rick, we're keeping this in. This is it. This is the end.
This is it. This reminds me of when we used to play Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, and everyone has to press ready, and you have a 15-second countdown. And if anyone says "I'm not ready" during the 15-second countdown, you have to start it again. We spent hours of our lives just exiting the countdown. I'm not ready. I'm ready.
Why is that so funny? Why is it so funny to just be a nuisance?
Anyway.
But not in like we didn't like steal chocolate bars from a local shop. We would just pester each other,
wind each other up with. It was mostly Fraser, I have to say, but yeah, try and stop it. 14.5 seconds.
Phil got so annoyed one time that he punched me in the shoulder and his finger broke, but that's a story for another time.
Yeah, that could be next podcast. Open with the Phil's 13th birthday.
Yeah, a story of remorse, regret, and great times, and basketball.
I don't blame regret.
Anyway, we're going to call it there. Thank you very much for listening. This has been Ollie, Philip. Yeah, and Richard.
Say my own name.
No, you can't say your own name. You can't have that sort of responsibility. Say goodbye again, Richard. Say it nicely.
Bon voyage, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here.
Arrivederci. See you next time.
Ciao.